Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We have a short one for you guys today, about a 7 or so minute match, and because of that, we're going to first take a look at deployments. So I'm playing against Vimes, a good friend of mine, and he's playing Commonwealth. Right off the bat you can see some Vickers Mark IIs, very deadly vehicles these, so they are vehicles not tanks, but they kind of remind me of the Ruakat series from South Africa. They're very fast, very quick, 17 AP power gun, 8 rounds a minute. I mean, it's a solid choice. And then we have a bunch of vehicles up here as well, some Oslov TOW2s, Coyote scout vehicles, and a Centurion Aver, and a couple infantry and Pinsgauers and Saxons, but not a lot, backed up by a C2 Mexis. And then over on the left-hand side we have a little squad of infantry here, and an ADATS, and then double unit of scout infantry and Pinsgauers, backed up by a Gazelle, and finally a FOB and a command vehicle. So the first thing I would probably notice is that there's a lot of expensive units. The TOW2 is 45 points, Vickers is 45 points, Coyote is 45 points. That's a lot, and you know, it's 135 points in one section. This was just 1,000 points apiece, and then if we go over and look here, there's just a lot more stuff, right? It's not better stuff. The OAT M60P is in no way able to stand up to a Vickers Mark II, so that's not it. But there's just a lot more stuff there. This was cheap proletary in OAT M60Ps. We have a Hera on this side, and then headed toward the center, let me switch perspectives here, is going to be an M84A, and a bunch of scout infantry, some specialist teams, and an M84AN, backed up by a Sava, another Hera 2 on the side, and another Hera 2 out to guard the flank. And finally, a command unit for Delta and a command unit for Hotel as well. So let's go ahead and switch to my perspective and get on the way. So my general goal here was to have a nice hold in Alpha. I'm not really pushing to Bravo because I really struggle securing Golf. And that's why there's a fair number of points here. The two tanks, the M84 and the AN, and of course the Sava is a wonderful anti-air unit as well. 2800 meter range could be a little bit better. 3325 comes to mind for some of the better ones, but there's a lot of ammunition on this guy. So 12 volleys, and he does 2 before he has to reload with that 10-second reload time, so it really can be an effective tool for clearing out helicopters that get a bit too close. So right off the bat we do spot a Gazelle AH-1, 65 point, exceptional optics, very pricey target, very valuable target indeed, and usually I would go after it with a helicopter hunter, so yeah, that's a really juicy target that was hard to resist. But we do also get our other units up on the way. The downside of this push is that it's very slow. So actually, if we switch to neutral for just a second, you can see my opponent's already in Bravo, pushing up the hill almost, and I'm barely in the tail end of Alpha. So mechanized units do have a cost associated with them. That's definitely true. M84ANs and M84As shooting at the Pinscouters going in here probably should have taken an approach a bit more sideways because they still did have their scout infantry in those units. But we can see here comes the helicopter hunter and down goes the Gazelle. Very nice. And this is going to be an issue. So my Graniciari are more or less alone. There's a single other unit in a Vidra, and most of these units, they're just cheap proletary. They don't have anti-tank, so it is going to be a little bit interesting if we encounter heavy resistance. But they're not just proletary. There's also an AA specialist infantry here, and also a Droog team in the OAT 60PB. And you can see we are getting shot at. Leopard C2 Mexis and my ATGM team is not able to get the kill. Yeah, no, so 3 damage only on that frontal armor. This guy, of course, it's a Fago team, not a Droog team, rather. 16 AP is not exceptional, and of course it's high explosive anti-tank, so it won't benefit from range. And that Centurion Aver is going to do a very nice job of taking him out. So at this point I was feeling a little bit odd because Golf seemed to have been an easier fight than normal. And those Green Jackets are going to get shot by 2 different tanks here in just a second, but I risk getting blown out of Alpha. So we are going to see really quickly here some reinforcements. Yep, L-15M, and this bomber, I mean, I'm trying to do new things with it, and 75 points, I know he drops sequentially, right? So first is the AoE, then the cluster. I really wish it was the other way around, actually. But I'm trying this guy out because I've been unsatisfied with the Oreo bomber as of late. So let's see what he can drop. SAS, C2 Mexis, Centurion Aver, and it looks like no kills, but down to 1 on the C2 Mexis, down to 4 on the Aver, yep, 4. And now we have the Droog team moving over, Graniciari engaged with Green Jackets, and these guys, I recognize the opportunity here. I just wanted to get them to the edge of the woods so they could get that gun online. And let's see, 1 shot. Very nice. Aver's gone. Second shot is aiming. I wish I had a double stack here. That would be a little bit better. or at least 2 individual units. Second shot on the way, down goes the Mexis, and now you can see the rest of Vime's push is moving up. So as SAS are struggling, the mortar here is going to be shooting in at that, down to 10 strength, stunned, able to kill my Proletary, but I don't know, I think we got some good value. And here's the interesting thing too, there are vehicles over this way. If we take a look at the neutral, most of my opponent's stuff has been pushed into this one section, so I have a unit holding, he does not. And L15M comes back in, this was absolutely brutal. So these guys are of course 20 points autocannon vehicles, stunned, down to 1 strength, some killed, SAS weakened, Fusiliers down to 14, more mortars going in, and it was just, this was a brutal, brutal, brutal game, and the fight was all right at the start, which was, I don't know, it's a little unusual, but I don't know, it was very, we're talking about it afterward. By the way, poor C2 Mexis over here, down to 2 strength, and double squad of Droogs is going to get the kill there, so that tank is gone as well. And there is a push by vehicles, I actually didn't see it at the time, I was playing a little too zoomed in over on this side, but the Proletary get the kill there. And if we take a look, there's basically nothing in Foxtrot. There's a single Coyote. M84AN is going to be sparring the Challenger 1 Mark 1. We'll take a look at that fight here in just a second, but in the meantime, actually it's about to start, it might be. No, I think we're still good. Granny Coyote do engage on the left-hand side, and whatever that vehicle is, I think it was, yep, Coyote, 45 points again, down to, well, dead, and then the Granny Coyote are killed by the Vickers and the other vehicle, but here's the fight. So Challenger 1 Mark 1 gets the first shot, and it's a hit. M84 gets the second shot, and it's a hit. And now it's the second volley. Let's take a look. Simultaneous shots. Reason for this. Oh, sorry about that. The reason for this. M84AN, 8 rounds a minute. Challenger 1 Mark 1, 7 rounds a minute. One of the few tanks in the game with a slower rate of fire than the M84AN. I mean, there are some, but I guess one of the few with that point value. So the M84AN, despite taking the first shot and getting hit twice, actually manages to get the third shot off first and get the kill. L17K goes in, hits another Gazelle, and now you can see the SAS are really struggling here. We also have the Ocelot 2 going forward, and this guy is pretty much most of what's left from my opponent's forces, him and the Vickers. And of course, me being the merciless and evil person that I am going to be calling in a bomber here in just a second. So another one of those 75-point L15Ms, and here it is. Toe 2, 9 strength, and in a good position. I mean, this could be deadly if he can get through, which is why the bomber was called out. And he's not gone. Oh, yep, he is. So sequential explosions again. And that is pretty much going to be it. We'll switch back to my perspective just for the last bit, but why my opponent surrendered at this point? Coyote, Pinsgauer 3-gun infantry, Coyote, a couple units of infantry there. As soon as I was through his Canadian rifles and green jackets, which the Proletary are more than up to the task of doing that. I mean, these Vidras could take a forward position. M84AN probably wouldn't have, down to 1 strength. Even the Coyote could kill him if I don't see him first. But it would be a long, hard road, actually attacking into Gulf or Bravo once the Proletary kill through these guys and move up. So with that, we are going to go to the kills and losses screen. Hopefully it'll work for, yep, I did switch back in time, nice. 255 kills versus 1020, so a very quick, very decisive game. Unusual for me. Usually if it's quick and decisive, I lose, so much as it is at my friend's expense, it was a brutal game to be a part of. M84A got a couple good kills. He actually got the ADATs at the beginning. Moved up a little bit too far. I think the idea was good. The idea was have Green Jacket out ahead of him, and then use the ADATs to kill things that the Green Jacket spotted, but just a bit too close there. L17K with 2 Gazelle AH1 kills. Each one of those is, of course, 65 points, so that's quite valuable. M84AN did very well. And the Droog teams were just vicious, so look at that. Aver, Mexis, 3 Vickers between the 2 of them, and a second Mexis as well. So these guys, 20 points apiece for the infantry, just did wonders. That really goes to show, bring those ATGM teams. You won't be disappointed. Alright, well that's all we've got for you guys today. Thank you all for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.